Many Westerners see Iran through a specific lens, a fanatical religious state that takes hostages and fuels regional chaos. For over 40 years, the U.S. and its allies have tried to dismantle this system, using sanctions, isolation, and covert ops. These attempts have failed to even dent the regime's control. This stability isn't accidental. The Iranian state is a meticulously engineered coup-proof fortress, built with the specific goal of surviving foreign pressure. We can't understand why this regime is so resilient today without looking at the historical trauma that forced its construction. To see how it works, we have to reverse engineer its defenses. The regime's hostility is a calculated defensive response. Its entire structure was refined through 2 centuries of humiliation and exploitation at the hands of outside powers. In the 1800s, Iran was squeezed between 2 rapidly expanding powers. The Russian Empire pushed down from the north to secure warm water ports, while the British Empire moved in from the east to protect its trade routes to India. To maintain power, Iranian monarchs sold off the country's future. They traded away monopolies on tobacco, banking, and roads to these foreign empires just to get enough quick cash to keep the palace running. The public eventually reached a breaking point. In 1905, Iranians launched a constitutional revolution, successfully creating a parliament to establish a domestic democracy and stop the Shah from selling the country to foreigners. The Russian Empire saw this democracy as a threat to their influence. They sent 12,000 troops into Tehran, rolled cannons to the parliament building, and opened fire, killing the lawmakers and ending the democratic experiment. This era left a permanent scar on the Iranian political mind. It proved that foreign powers would use extreme violence to crush any domestic democratic movement that threatened their geopolitical bottom line. The discovery of oil in 1908 changed the stakes. Iran was no longer just a buffer zone. It was now the key to Britain's naval dominance and the fuel for its global empire. In 1951, Mohammad Mossadegh became prime minister and led a popular movement to nationalize the oil industry. He wanted to take the country's wealth back from the British and use it for Iranians. The Western response was swift. The CIA and MI6 bribed politicians, hired street mobs, and successfully convinced the Iranian military to stage a coup. Mossadegh was arrested and silenced, ending the last real hope for Iranian self-determination. To prevent this from ever happening again, the current regime built a parallel military, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is a separate, ideologically vetted force with its own army and navy, designed specifically to stop the regular military from ever attempting another coup. The 1953 coup proved that a traditional national military is a vulnerability that foreign spies can easily exploit. The IRGC is the regime's coup-proof insurance policy, ensuring the state survives internal and external threats alike. For 25 years after the coup, the Western-backed Shah ruled with an iron fist. He used a brutal secret police to torture dissenters, while cementing his reputation as a Western puppet who ignored his own people's needs. Ayatollah Khomeini rose to power by channeling this deep, multi-generational resentment. He framed the struggle not just in religious terms, but as a total rejection of the foreign imperialists who had hollowed out the country. In 1979, millions of Iranians took to the streets. Through the sheer will of the population, they overthrew the heavily armed US-backed monarchy and forced the Shah into exile. To keep the US and its allies from returning, the new government began funding a ring of fire, a network of proxy militias across the Middle East that could fight Iran's enemies far away from its own borders. The final layer of the fortress is the nuclear program. The regime views nuclear capabilities as the ultimate deterrent, believing it is the only way to ensure that foreign powers will never again attempt to invade or replace the Iranian government. These proxy networks and nuclear ambitions are not random acts of aggression. They are paranoid, calculated mechanisms built to ensure the cycle of foreign intervention is broken for good. By any objective measure of statecraft, the regime has succeeded. It is now insulated against the exact tactics, coups, resource theft, and foreign meddling that ruined every previous Iranian government. This structure makes traditional Western strategies like targeted assassinations largely ineffective. The system is designed to be leader-proof. If the head is removed, a decentralized network of ideological loyalists is already in place to take over. This fortress was built using a million-man network of volunteer militias and a morality police that enforces total domestic obedience. The state has turned its defensive gaze inward, treating its own citizens as the potential frontline for foreign subversion. This constant domestic policing has created a massive rift between the state and the society. While the fortress is secure, the people living inside it are exhausted. 80% of Iranians now reject the regime, yet they are the ones trapped behind its defensive walls. The tragedy of modern Iran is that the defenses worked. The walls built to keep the empires out have become an impenetrable cage, locking the people in with the very regime they have spent a century trying to reform.